You know how to book flights and hotels. All you're missing is a tool to plan the travel experiences you'll have once you arrive. That's why you need Viator. Book guided tours, activities, excursions, and more in one place to make your trip truly unforgettable. Viator has over 300,000 travel experiences to choose from. Everything from simple tours to extreme adventures and all the niche, interesting stuff in between. So you can plan something that everyone you're traveling with will enjoy. Real traveler reviews give the inside scoop from people who've already been on the experiences you're considering. So you can plan with confidence. Free cancellation helps you plan for the unexpected. And 24/7 customer support means you can travel worry-free. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator.
Swimsuit? Check. Sunscreen? Check. Phone charger? Check. Don't forget to pack the 5-Hour Energy. It fits great in a pocket or carry-on, and the alert feeling will help you arrive ready for anything. Now get 20% off when you use code 5HETRAVEL at 5hourenergy.com. Expires April 30th. One-time use only. Not valid with other discounts. Remember, visit 5hourenergy.com and use code 5HETRAVEL to save 20%.
Hello, and welcome to the Comedy Album Book Club. This is Matt, and if you listened to our last episode, you know we chatted with Just for Laughs homegrown talent winner Courtney Gilmour about John Mulaney's Kid Gorgeous. She was kind enough to join us once more to talk one-on-one about her experiences as a comedian. Now, please enjoy our interview, and remember, if you liked it, rate and review. Thanks, and keep laughing.
Hi, Courtney. Thanks for joining us again. Now, you selected John Mulaney's Kid Gorgeous for our last panel show. What about that album made you select it?
I selected it because John Mulaney, first of all, is just probably one of my favorite comedians, if not my top favorite, just because... Not just, but he is such a strong writer, and I really connect to his style. And so when I saw Kid Gorgeous, I heard it, and it was just, I found it absolutely, brilliant and smart from beginning to end. I didn't feel any lulls, and I was just, riveted the entire time. So I was just in awe of that kind of talent and how masterful he is, just with words and the joke structure and everything. I loved it. So out of all his specials and all his albums, that one definitely struck a chord with me.
It really feels like it kind of carries you from beginning to end. Like everything served, every word, every joke, even the toss away lines really felt like they served a purpose when I was watching that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I mentioned this before, there's no fat. He condenses all his jokes. Everything is there for a reason. There's no misplacement. Everything is funny where it's supposed to be funny. Everything is set up perfectly. It's all amazing. It's so flawless to me.
Do you have a favorite bit from the album or the special? I like the bit about, it's so hard to choose just because it's all so good. I'll say a couple. I really liked when he's talking about school assemblies in an elementary school and having guest speakers come in. That was probably one of my favorites, where he's talking about having the woman with the straight gray hair come in. That's really funny to me. And then I also loved his joke that he did a callback to later when he said that his mom, the first joke that he launched into at the beginning, where he's talking about how his mom has seen a ghost and his childhood house was haunted. And she would see a woman or a child in a Victorian gown running around the house, and then he calls back to it later. It's so funny. That one is... Oh, and that callback was so unexpected, which just made it land that much better. Yeah. Because a callback, I kind of expected it sooner, but that was so much later in the set. It just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was so much later. You had forgotten about it entirely. It was perfect.
Yeah. Are there other comedians that you found influential or inspirational in your own work?
Yeah, there are so many. I guess when I think about it, sometimes I resonate with certain comics because of the similarities in our style, but I definitely feel that some of my favorites are my favorites because they are so different from me. Either they're doing something that I wish I could do, or they're doing something that I know is not even within my range to do, but I respect it so much. For example, I really admire Rory Scovel. He is one of my favorite comedians, and I saw him. I mean, I've seen him a number of times, but the time that really sticks out in my mind was not this past year, but the year before, 2018 or 2017, just for Last 42. I saw him, and it was an unbelievable performance. Like, we were laughing so hard that it was almost annoying how hard we were laughing because we were like in physical pain. He was just amazing and so gifted. Just so gifted, and such a high energy performer. And he was talking about a few topics that I had never heard him address before, like religion. And he has this hilarious bit about he has such an amazing way of simplifying really large concepts. Like, he was talking about how it's really weird to believe in God because it's so hard to grasp that after all this time, God just can't get over the apple situation. That's so funny to me. I died laughing at that. And for someone who grew up super religious, that really clicked with me. So I really love Rory Scovel. Mark Forward, similarly, is a really eclectic performer. He's amazing to watch. I love Deanne Smith, Tig Notaro. Yeah, there are so many faves.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned growing up Christian, and I read somewhere where you had some exposure to Christian comedy growing up. We previously had a guest, Adam Daly, he was the son of a preacher, and he had listened to a lot of Christian stand-up as a kid. Have you found, and for him, he found it influenced his writing today, although he doesn't write from the same place, he found some of that has seeped into his writing style. Have you found that at all?
I think a little bit. I think you can't really help the way your writing is shaped when you've grown up around a specific atmosphere. Like, it's sort of I think that's a good way to phrase it. Like, it seeps into your writing and the way you just, the way you think about things. And I mean, I definitely, I wouldn't say that like Christian stand-up comedy was a circuit that I was heavily involved in. I definitely knew about it when I was starting. I did start with within the church, sort of. Like, I was doing church fundraisers. There is a really great comic out in Saskatchewan, and I don't know if he's done Just for Laughs. He might have, but he's pretty well known for even just being a clean comedian. And he did Vice did a documentary a year ago about religion and comedy, and he was in it. So his name is Leland Klassen, and he was sort of my favorite, or not my favorite, he was like my comedy dad getting started, because he gave me a chance to perform at this event at a church it was like one of my first times performing. So I guess writing jokes while I was still in that headspace was very much like writing clean and writing very short, punchy jokes. A little bit cheesy, a little bit too cheesy for my style now. That's not to say that it's all cheese, but because there are such rigid parameters in content, you're sort of forced to think of comedy in more of a limiting view. So you're pulling from talking about church or talking about food or whatever, but. Yeah, I'm sure it influenced me. I still tend to write a little bit more clean, but I definitely enjoy. I think my taste in comedy has still remained on that path but maybe to like a higher level. Like I still appreciate clean comics. Like for example, I really like Nate Bargatze, and he's clean and he's Christian too. But he's more mainstream, and it's not like he hasn't limited himself to like the Christian market. He's been on, this Tonight Show and everything. So yeah.
Is that what inspired you to do the So Fresh and So Clean night that you do with Noor Hadidi?
Sort of. It definitely came natural to me to gravitate towards clean comedy, but it was sort of a combination between being familiar with clean comedy and also noticing that there was a lack of it in the city as a show format.
Yeah.
So and I think I was still in my first couple of years of comedy, and I wanted there to be because I was pretty conflicted for a while living in the city and having family who don't really understand how comedy works, and so they'd always be begging to come see me, and I was like, no, there's no way in hell that you're going to come to a comedy show and like enjoy I would be too nervous for you because I know there's so many comics out there that you would absolutely hate. So I think part of me wanted to create a show where, comedians of all styles could come and like practice a set for a corporate gig or practice a set for a showcase set. But I could also invite my friends and family from back home, and that could be like the go-to show for them to come and see if they wanted to.
Excellent. Now, do you find that the restriction of working blue, do you find that, or working clean as opposed to working blue, do you find that sort of helps almost challenge the comedian to make a better joke at times?
Yeah, in a way. It's definitely a challenge for sure. I would be a little bit reticent to say that it challenges you to write a better joke, only because it's hard to write a joke at all. It doesn't matter whether it's clean or blue. It's just hard to write a good joke, and that doesn't really it doesn't really matter. But because people are not used to having boundaries and parameters, for sure there's that extra tier of challenge where you're thinking, okay, I have limits now and I have taboo words that I can't touch. So how do I craft this sentence without using the word fuck and still have it deliver the punch that it usually gets? So there's definitely that roadblock, and I think a lot of comedians who come on the show definitely describe it as a writing challenge, but it's not so much that it's about writing better jokes. It's just about writing as good jokes to be performed for just a different audience that they're not used to.
So more about stretching your boundaries and stretching your creative skills and tackling it in a different way. Cool. Now, you have an upcoming Comedy Network special. Is there any chance that you might be doing an album as well?
I would like to. I have been talking about it a lot more this year. It's starting. I think I've just been waiting for the right time in my career to do that, and just in speaking to my colleagues and sort of like observing and evaluating the material that I've accumulated so far, I think it's making more and more sense to head in that direction soon. So I think I don't have any concrete plans like this is when it's going to come out, but I think in the next year that would be the next logical step is to come out with an album.
Excellent. Now, you've been doing comedy since I believe around university that you started. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And you won the homegrown competition at Just for Laughs in Montreal. You've played in both Toronto and Montreal's Just for Laughs festivals, as well as the Winnipeg and Halifax comedy festivals, and doing local and touring stuff. Like, how do you find the Toronto comedy world compares to that in other cities? Do you find it a little bit more welcoming or a little bit more standoffish? Because I know some rooms like the Rivoli, for example, have a reputation of being a hard room and Toronto audiences being a little cold. Do you find, is that more of a myth or is that a fact that Toronto is a hard place to play?
I mean, okay, it's not a myth in that specific instance of the Rivoli, and I love playing the Rivoli, but I definitely find that room can be a little bit cold. However, I feel like that's isolated. Like, I don't really find that that's like reflective of Toronto as a scene. But yeah, I mean, I compared to other cities, especially touring and being on the road, I feel like Toronto's comedy scene is spoiled in a way in that there are just so many shows per night. There's so many opportunities to really sharpen your skills and cut your teeth. And I think because Toronto is a tourist type of city, and so there's always so many activities for people to go out and do every night. When they do come to a comedy show, it can be a little bit hit or miss. I've had pretty good experiences with, like, I for the most part, I feel like I head into certain shows knowing whether or not it's going to be a hot or cold room. Sometimes I'm gravely mistaken, but you know, Comedy Bar, if you have like a good headliner and it's a good time slot, a sold out Comedy Bar show is almost guaranteed to be pretty good. But other cities, I like getting out of the city. I definitely feel that the smaller towns or just outside of Ontario is a bit warmer. They are a bit more welcoming. If they're not oversaturated with comedy, then that's probably a higher chance that they're going to be more receptive to it because it's more of the thing to do that night, whereas Toronto has a million comedy shows. So, yeah, it's hit or miss wherever you go, but I definitely have enjoyed getting to know different scenes. Winnipeg was amazing, and so was Halifax. I like doing small towns, you know. It's definitely interesting to kind of gauge, like, where they are in their politics, where they are in, like, their appreciation for certain styles of humor. It's really great for that, but yeah.
I grew up in Cambridge, which is like right next to Waterloo, and I still remember the first time I ever went to a comedy club. It was the Yuck Yucks, like right by the University of Waterloo, and it was funny because like the audience, it was almost like a college gig every night because the university students from Laurier and Waterloo would just always go to that venue. And so, I mean, it's interesting. Like you said, it's like venues can be so different even within within blocks of one another.
Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, it's interesting because I wasn't with Yuck Yucks when that Yuck Yucks in Kitchener was there. And I grew up in Kitchener, Waterloo, and I've only started to do more comedy gigs in that area within the past 2 years, and I can't seem to really crack them yet. Like, there are the student shows are usually pretty good, and then like, for instance, like, I have a show coming up at the Registry Theatre, and I'm a little bit nervous because I did a show there once, and it was just like, I don't know what you people want. So it's a weird area. The entire KW Cambridge area it's a weird mix because you've got some rural elements and you've got some city elements. So it's sort of like a jumble in a way that a city like Toronto isn't. Yeah, but then you have a place like Guelph, which is not too far off at all, and they are also a student-heavy city, and that place is amazing for comedy. Like, it's so good all the time. So it's so interesting.
Now what's the strangest gig that you've ever played? Like, most unusual venue or weirdest kind of thing that's come up?
Strangest. Okay, well, I did a nudist resort. That was pretty unconventional. outside the city a little bit. It was a nudist resort, so we had to be naked, telling jokes to naked people. That's like
a thing of nightmares.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I mean, it wasn't, but like conceptually it is. But it was fun. Yeah. But it was, it was interesting, and because it wasn't sexualized or anything. It was like people who were there to be nude as like a belief system rather than like a sexual thing. So you have families there. So like front row, you'd have a naked family, and there were kids there. There were children there.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit taxing. And then I did a show at a sex club at Oasis Aqua Lounge.
Okay,
That was similar in theme, but very different because the vibe was hyper-sexualized.
So it's like two extremes of the same of sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. Those were two pretty crazy shows. And then I did a show on a Saturday afternoon outside in a Popeyes parking lot as part of like a street festival.
Oh, cool. I still remember back in the early days of Nuit Blanche. I used to help a sort of comedy burlesque troupe and doing sound and stuff, and playing outdoors is a challenge at the best of times. Like you don't know how you're carrying, and sometimes the laughs can get lost unless they're really carrying.
Yeah, exactly. It can be done, but it has to be done really well. It has to be like organized and produced by a comedian who knows how to factor in all the inevitable variables that are going to stand in your way. Like I did a show with Jordan Foisey last summer that actually went off without a hitch, and it was outside, and we were all so pleasantly surprised by how it turned out, but it was great. But then I've done plenty of other street festivals where it was just a nightmare. So it depends on who's organizing it.
Now, switching tack a bit here, during JFL 42 this year, you had a sign interpreter working with you. Did that change your set at all, or how you're delivering things? How was that experience?
It was incredible because I've worked with ASL interpreters before, and they largely they're very hard to book because a lot of them don't really like doing comedy because it's very difficult, and understandably so. Like comedy is so, it's lightning fast, and it's changing up your verbiage on the spot, and it's crowd work, and it's riffing, and then, a lot of us use we use sort of our own diction, make up words. Like there's just so many things that make it hard to, do sign language in real time and have it be effective. But this woman who I found through DJ Demers recommended her to me, and he works with her. Jennifer Lee. She's incredible. She's so great. She just well-versed in comedy, and I think it helps that she is a comedy fan herself, and so she knows how it works, and she just would, I didn't even have to give her a transcript. Like, she just would come to the show, and she would just go, and it also really helped. Like, I got so much positive feedback from her, from the audiences at every show that she was at, because she's such a performer herself. Like, she would perform comedy as if she was the comedian, and people loved that. It was like,
I was at the one show at the comedy bar, and it just felt like she was emoting so much. It really carried through, like, subtext and nuance that you had in your jokes. That I mean, I know a little bit of ASL and not a lot anymore, but it really carried through when she was working with you.
Yeah, I think everything that she does is so important to comedy, and she's able to express the exact emotions, and she's able to perform them. She's just, she's really good at what she does, and I think that really translates well. I mean, you see people like, I don't know if you've seen Eminem's ASL interpreter, but he has one. No. You should look up her. There's a video of her. He has this ASL interpreter that you can tell is like a hardcore Eminem fan. Like, she's rapping as if she's rapping, It's almost like she doesn't even know that anyone else is there. And that's the vibe that I always got from Jennifer. And I have good chemistry with her, so we're able to play with each other. And it makes delivering my jokes more fun, because I know there are going to be certain things that I say that she's going to make so much funnier just by the signs. And so it's incredible for that reason, and to be able to play, being an amputee, not having hands, and then having a pair of hands on stage with you is always so funny and so good. But it was really cool that I was able to invite people who are deaf and hard of hearing to come and enjoy the show, because, otherwise there are so few opportunities for people with disabilities to enjoy live comedy. Yeah.
Now, you... Again, switching tack a little bit here, you have your Dream Lake campaign that you've been running, and you're going to be climbing the CN Tower in a few days. Can you tell me about, like, how's training going, and how is prepping for that?
I feel pretty good. I definitely don't regret it at all. I'm pretty excited. This will be my fourth time doing it, but my first time doing it with my new leg, and I'm pretty pumped. I think it's going pretty well. Like, I've been working with a personal trainer since June, just like working out once a week, and I think that will significantly boost my stamina this year, because I hadn't even barely been working out at all the past 3 times that I've climbed. So I'm hoping that will give me some extra strength there. But I'm excited. Like, it's not like it's a personal challenge. Like, nobody is asking me to climb the CN Tower. This is all my personal, just something that I wanted to do. And it's a good chance for me to use my new leg for, something it was meant to do. So, it's fun. I'm excited. I have a couple of other comedians who are going to come with me, and it's going to be fun.
Excellent. Now, just to wrap up, if people wanted to catch your performances, where can they find you?
It's probably easiest. I post all my show dates on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, so they can follow me at Court Gilmour on Twitter and Courtney J. Gilmour on Instagram. And, Courtney, I have a Facebook page, Courtney Gilmour on Facebook. And, I post all my stuff there. I'm on the Yuck Yucks website. I'm going to be touring around doing Niagara Falls in December. And they want to follow me, probably best, follow me online, and I'll post all my stuff and everything I'm up to.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us a bit more. And good luck on your climb. I know that's something that I keep saying, one of these days I'm going to do it, and I still haven't. And I think it would probably kick my ass if I tried. So I'm like in awe of what you're doing there. So, kick ass on that. And thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You know how to book flights and hotels. All you're missing is a tool to plan the travel experiences you'll have once you arrive. That's why you need Viator. Book guided tours, activities, excursions, and more in one place to make your trip truly unforgettable. Viator has over 300,000 travel experiences to choose from. Everything from simple tours to extreme adventures and all the niche, interesting stuff in between. So you can plan something that everyone you're traveling with will enjoy. Real traveler reviews give the inside scoop from people who've already been on the experiences you're considering. So you can plan with confidence. Free cancellation helps you plan for the unexpected. And 24/7 customer support means you can travel worry-free. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator.
When you visit Arizona, time is measured in moments, not minutes. Like the moment your work stress disappears as you kayak through the canyons. Or the moment you discover the life-changing effects of prickly pear chocolate. But nothing beats the moment you see the Grand Canyon for the very first time. Visit a new state of mind. Learn more at hereyouareaz.com.